Welcome back to another live stream. Hi, how is everyone doing? It is Thursday night, and yeah, we're gonna have an interesting stream tonight. But before we go too far, just want to make sure. Are we live? My goodness. Let's see. I think we are live. We are back. So sorry about that. Okay. I don't know what happened. Well, I guess my PC is quite old already. It's what? Now coming to 6 years. So things tend to happen, right, from time to time. It has crashed earlier, I think a few days ago when I was editing my video. But yeah, I hope it doesn't crash anymore. This is a hard crash. It's not like a software glitch or camera problem or cable problem, whatever. The PC just crashed, right? I have to restart it and reconnect to YouTube. So hopefully everything is okay. Let me see if I can bring up the comment. No, I cannot. I can. All right, everything is still fine. All right, Rowan Capture, hi. I thought it was my Wi-Fi. No, it was definitely my end, my computer. But the great thing about YouTube Live is that even if you are disconnected, even if your computer crashed, the live still goes on. So it allows you some time to get back online and reconnect. And yeah, so I was gone for like a few minutes, I think less than 5 minutes, and now I'm back. So here we are. Hey Andrew, how are you? Andrew says, hey Robin, all good now, video okay, audio okay. I think your PC needs a cup of coffee too. Let me drink some coffee. I haven't had my coffee yet. Yes, that's a good idea, Andrew. And nice to see you again, Andrew. Coffee is life. Okay. Jeff says, hey Robin everyone, so sad to hear about Ben Chappell's passing. He was a mine of information regarding asteroid Olympus gear. I know, right? I was really sad about that as well. That's why there's this, the light box is displaying rest in peace, Ben Chappell, and we'll talk a bit about that a little bit later, yeah? Yes, it's indeed very, very sad. But I think I'm missing some chats. Let me see if I can bring things back up. Yeah, Ayman says, Abang Bobin. YouTube hit your comment, Ayman. So I guess the words that you typed, the too many letters, YouTube thought that was a spam. I need to unhide the chat to find your comment, Ayman. So yeah, I gotta be careful with what you type on the chat. Hey. Viper Gamoka says, good evening, Robin. Good evening, Viper Gamoka. Thanks for being here. Check this already. Yes, Andrew, let's do this. Number 6 says, hi Robin, good evening to you. Good evening to you too, number 6. Nice to see you. Thanks, Vapagamuka. That's before the crash, right? Hey Jack, how are you? Good evening, Robin. Thanks for the stream. No worries. And yes, thank you so much for waiting, number 6. I appreciate that. Chat says, hey all, always good to see you, Robin. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here and nice to see everyone here as well. Jerry says, hi from rainy Finland. Oh, it's been raining in Finland. Oh, that's nice. I guess it's not too cold, right? Astrom says, good afternoon from Iceland. No worries, Robin. Take your time to restart and get the stream working. And I'm glad that it's working now. Hopefully, no more problems, no more crashes or anything. Yeah. Tom Prop says, hey Robin and chat, greetings from Germany, where it's 4 p.m. Nice. Okay, that's interesting time for to watch a live stream. I wonder if you're working. Yes, it is working now, Astrom. Thanks for being patient and thanks for staying with me. Thanks, Tom Prop, for letting me know. Chuck says he buffered for me, but seems good now. Well, it wasn't really buffering, I guess. It's just a complete freeze. It was just frozen at that last frame, and the computer crashed. So I had to type from my smartphone here to let you guys know about the computer crashing and me having to restart everything. So yeah. Ashram says, the guy from the IT department at work told me today that I need to get a new computer since the one I use is 6 years old. Wow, 6 years? I thought it was pretty good. I still can like edit my photographs, no problem. I can edit my videos, come up with at least one video every week. And well, to be fair, I've been live streaming for 2 years. This is the first time in 2 years that I have had a hard crash. Only first time. I've had like hundreds of streams already, right? Or at least more than 100 streams, yeah. Thanks, Vapagamuka. Appreciate that. Lenny the Land says, "Hi Robin, hope you are good. I'm doing great. Glad I'm able to join this stream. Sip some coffee and let's do this. I'll drink to that." Yes, number 6, go and get your coffee. Nimrod says, "Hello from Slovenia." Hey Nimrod, how are you? Zoltan, hey Zoltan, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Zoltan says, "Hi Robin, good evening to you from Maryland. And hello everyone, let's do this." Very happy to see you again, Zoltan. Chris says, "Hi Robin, video is okay but sound all broken up and now video has frozen again." Really? Really, the sound is broken up? Okay. So guys, very quick, let me know if my voice is okay. From my monitoring, everything seems okay. I can't seem to find any problem. Just let me know quickly if I need to fix my audio, because after I restart the computer, maybe some settings got changed. I need to configure something. Let me know if the sound is okay. All right. Scott says, "Good morning from Orlando, Florida. Having a bad time getting a camera fixed by Best Buy. Never buy the Best Buy protection plan. Get an extended warranty from the manufacturer instead." Yeah, always get from the manufacturer directly because they have all the parts. They made those cameras and lenses. They know how to fix them. They know what's wrong, right? Yeah. Okay, thanks guys. Like everything is okay, right? Thanks Chuck. Thanks number 6. Thanks Squaredat. Thanks Vapagamuka. Thanks GG Wildlife. Yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for letting me know. I don't know what's happened. So earlier someone said sound is all broken up. Like, let me find that comment again. Where was that? I can't seem to find it. Here. Video is frozen. Really? Okay. Okay, since I have at least like 5 or 6 people saying it's okay, I am just going to assume that everything is fine on my end, alright? Let's continue. Andrew says, "I think 6 years is really the benchmark nowadays." I know, right? Like, but then again, I don't feel like the computer is aging unless I want to edit like 6K or 8K video. I'm not going to do that. And I don't have a 100 megapixels camera. My camera's, the highest pixel count is 24 megapixels. And whatever that I'm using now is more than sufficient to process 24 megapixels files. And I don't feel like the computer is slow. Yeah, so I don't see a need to upgrade unless, yeah, it really dies. If it dies, it dies. I'm not going to feel sad or bad about it. And I'm just going to buy a new computer, right? Yeah. Thanks, Zoltan. Appreciate that. Kamulat Mariam says, "Good." Kamuyat, right? Kamuyat Mariam says, "Good evening, everyone." And yeah, sad news about Ben. He's within the stars now. I know, right? He's with the stars where he always shoots. Very sad about that. Chuck says, "My junior use computer is coming up and being a decade old now." Wow. It's amazing it lasts that long. Hey. Chris says, "Now back to normal, fingers crossed." Yeah, hopefully nothing goes wrong. Estrom says, "It looks and sounds good from Iceland." Thank you so much, Estrom. The stream is good here. Thanks, Zoltan. Appreciate that. Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. Thanks, Lenny. Yeah. Ken says, "My MacBook Air from 2012 is still going strong. Just can't install all the latest software because it's running Mac OS 11. Ah, understand. Yeah. Number 6 says, "Video not frozen." I know, right? Like, I don't know what happened. Well, thankfully, everything's working fine. Let's hope it stays that way. Yeah, that was frozen. It's not frozen. I mean, my computer crashed. All right. I've caught up with the chat. Let me drink a bit more coffee and then we'll start with the updates on what's happening with my life. On Monday, I released a new video, and that was the product or the camera that I couldn't tell you guys about, which I teased, I think, about 2 live streams ago. So I had a camera for more than 1 week. And the reason why I didn't say anything was not because I can't say anything. It was because when I found out that I'm going to get the camera, I think it was a Friday. I was going to get it on Friday. So my last stream was on Thursday. And I don't want to tell or say something about something that I don't have yet. So I'll feel more comfortable if I already have the camera in hand and say, hey, I have the Ricoh GR4, right? But at that time, when I knew that I was going to collect the camera and test it, it was the day after the live stream. So during the live stream, I was saying, oh, I'll be busy with this project for the following week. And yeah, but I can't say anything about it. Not that I can't say, just I don't want to. And well, the reason is simple. I'm not comfortable telling people about something that I don't already have. So once I have that, I went and test it out. So yeah, so I spent more than 1 week going to various locations to shoot a lot of sample photographs, and I published my mini review of the Ricoh GR4 on Monday. If you have not read that, or not read, sorry, if I did write my blog articles on the GR4, but if you haven't watched the video I published on Monday, please do so. I put a lot of effort into that video, alright? It's like, and it's been a while since I last did a camera test, like, or do a mini review of a new camera. And I know the one that I did not too long ago was the OM5 Mark II. That's a new camera, but then again, we all know that the OM5 Mark II is very similar to OM5 and EM5 Mark III, and I used to own the EM5 Mark III, so I know the camera inside out. It's like 95% the same camera, right? With just minor tweaks and improvements. So it's not exactly like testing a new camera. I don't really need to go through like the image quality and all the performance and everything, because it's basically using the same image sensor, so we can expect the same image quality. But this is different, right? The GR4 is indeed a new camera. It has an updated sensor, it has a new processor, it has new lens, it has improved image stabilization. So everything is new. So yeah, I spent a lot of time testing the autofocus, testing the image stabilization, testing the image quality, like trying to shoot in really harsh conditions. And you can see that being displayed in the video when I do my demonstrations on the features and everything. And I thought it was a great camera. I really enjoyed it. Well, I understand that the pricing is not exactly that friendly for everyone, and even I also admit that I probably can't afford one anytime soon, unless the price comes down, and we all know that the GR cameras, the price will not come down. But whether it's too expensive or whether it's reasonable or justified, that's entirely up to everyone, because, well, whether you like it or not, Ricoh GR4 or the GR series cameras, they are in a unique position where they don't really have any competition, which actually leads to today's topic, which we will talk about a little bit later, right? About why Micro Four Thirds is missing out. It's like such a big missed opportunity, right? Micro Four Thirds should be cashing in on this small camera, compact camera with large sensor and high quality lens, high performing, truly pocketable camera solution. And why are they not doing this? Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. So watch the video if you're not done so. It was on Monday. And yesterday, I woke up to a very sad news. I saw the Facebook post on Ben Chappell's page. Ben Chappell, if you don't know him, he runs a YouTube channel called the Narrowband channel, where he talks about astrophotography, and he uses Micro Four Thirds gear, cameras and lenses, specifically also Olympus and OM System products, to shoot astrophotography. And he shares a lot of tips, he shares a lot of techniques, and he goes really deep on how to capture these beautiful images in the sky at night. He has contributed so much to the community, and I have had the pleasure of knowing him. Let me just pull up his image. Not in person. I've never met him in person before, but we have done a few collabs together. We have been in the same live streams hosted by Rob Track before. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, that's the live stream, I think 3 or 4 years ago, together with Joe Adamant, Peter Forsgard, Jimmy Chang. We were all wearing red because it was Chinese New Year at that time. It was really, really funny, and there was Ben at the lower right corner bottom. So yeah, it was nice being in the same virtual room with Ben, and I was very privileged and honored to be a part of this community and being able to come together and just do something, right? Something interesting for everyone. And yeah, it's just so sad that Ben is no longer with us. It's also quite an inspiration that Ben really fought very, very hard. He was very brave and he was very strong, and he's got the stomach cancer. I don't really know the right terminology of the cancer that he has, but when he found out like 3 or 4 years ago, it was already stage 4, I think. So yeah, he doesn't have a lot of time, and yeah, he's been fighting this cancer for several years, and too bad. It didn't turn out very well. But for him to last so many years, and for him to fight on that strength, that will to live, is commendable. So yeah, I really respect. I have very very deep respect for Ben in this particular regard, and I can't help but to remember something from years ago, and this is when I first found out about Ben's channel. It was actually one of my subscribers who alerted me to Ben's channel, saying that, hey, he used your catchphrase, let's do this. Well, technically it's not my catchphrase. I mean, let's do this is so general, right? Anyone uses it, so it's not really mine. Like shutter therapy, yes, that's my creation, right? I will be very proud to own to the fact that I coined the phrase shutter therapy. But let's do this is just something that I use in every video, but it doesn't mean that it's mine, it's everyone's. And I just want to show this video here if I can play it up. And I can't help but to smile and also shed a few tears every time I watch this video.
In the words of Robin Wong, let's do this.
And let me play it one more time. It's very very quick.
Now, in the words of Robin Wong, let's do this.
Yeah, there it was. There was just a tiny clip from his video. The video was how to shoot high resolution moon or something like that. And yeah, it's kind of sad because the first time I saw him in YouTube, he mentioned my name, and that was such an honor being mentioned by him, right? And after that, we get to know each other a little bit better. And yeah, to Ben's family and friends and close ones, well, I pray that you guys will find peace and comfort. And yeah, well, life goes on, right? And we will always remember Ben, and we'll always be forever grateful to Ben's contribution to the community. And I will always remember how kind and how awesome Ben is. So yeah. Okay, enough about the sad news, right? Nothing much going on recently. I think there was an event that I'm supposed to speak at next week. It's a YouTube networking event, but that got postponed. So, oh, Andrew, you're here. Let's bring this, what you call that, the spicy discussion into our members only live stream when it happens. But what I can tell you now, Andrew, is that the YouTube event did not happen. It got postponed to November. And the reason was because they couldn't get enough people to sign up. Interesting, right? Well, we'll talk more about this when we see each other in members only live stream or in some other ways. So yeah, let's not talk too much in this public live stream. So anyway, I was supposed to be at the event next week, and that got postponed. But I think on the same day, on Thursday as well next week, there will be a smartphone launch, a Xiaomi smartphone launch, which I'm invited to. And I think it will be in the afternoon. I'm not sure if it will affect the timing of my live stream, but I guess I will finalize everything and announce everything next week. So other than that, nothing much happened. No big stuff happening or no updates. I guess that's pretty much it. So let me just say hi to a few more people, and then we'll dive into the topic of today. But let's drink coffee first. Coffee. Andrew says, I really thought you're going to keep the GR4. I'm not DP Review or Petapixel, Andrew? I'm just a tiny peanut nobody from Malaysia that nobody knows and cares about. If you're someone as big as Chris Nichols and Jordan Drake, or someone from Petapixel or DP Review, then of course they're just gonna, hey, here's a new camera, keep it, do whatever you want of it, right? We just want to review. For me, it's I get loaners. I'll be very, very grateful, and I'm already very, very thankful that I get a loaner to play with for more than 1 week. That's already very generous. Sometimes they'll say you only have 2 or 3 days and you have to return the camera or the product already, right? So I like the OM Fire Mark II, I only had 3 days with the camera. Technically 2 days plus, not even 3 full days, right? I met them on Friday. I have to return the camera to them on Sunday, so it's 2 days plus. But yeah, so the fact that I have had the camera, the first person in Malaysia to have the camera for 1 week plus, more than 1 week, that was already very generous. So yeah, I can't ask for more. Yeah. Not enough reputable YouTubers. We'll talk more, Andrew. We'll talk more. I promise you when we get together or during our members only live stream. Camille says, hello from Wrocław, Poland. Hey Camille, how are you? Roger says, yes Jeff, may we all think of Ben when we take photos of the sky. Yeah. I know, right? I think for me, I will think of him when I just generally do my photography from time to time. It's just so hard not to think about him because it's like he mentioned my name. Like the first time I saw him, he mentioned my name and he said, let's do this. And that really strikes some nerve. Like it just striking a nerve is not right way to put it. I don't know. I my words just don't come out right now. But yeah, it affected me somehow, you know. And now remembering that was the first time I encountered him. Wow, that was really something. Yeah, I'll remember him definitely. Yumi says, hi Robin, hi everyone, let's go take more photos after this. Yes, let's take more photos. That's a great plan. Boris says, hi Robin, I have the EM1, also tried the EM5 and 10, but my favorite camera is Olympus EPL. I do not need two dials when shooting A and S modes. My best photos are shot on EPL because you can carry it everywhere. I need two dials though when I shoot in aperture and shutter priority mode because besides controlling the aperture and shutter speed, I also control the exposure compensation. The metering doesn't always give me what I want, and the advantage of shooting with a mirrorless cameras or a macro four thirds camera is that through the screen electronic viewfinder you can already see what you shoot, right? What the results they're gonna get. You're already seeing the actual image before you click the shutter button. So whether it's underexposed or overexposed, you can fix it before you click the shutter button. So one of the settings that I use the most frequently is exposure compensation, just to make sure that I get my exposure right. Yeah. Fabagomoga says, I want a Ricoh GR, especially after watching your video. Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind. It's very handy for traveling and street photography, but price is prohibitive for me now. Yeah, I think price is the problem for a lot of people. But having said that, the camera was launched in Malaysia during the pre-order, and it was sold out in 2 days. The pre-order was full, was completely full, filled up in 2 days in Malaysia. I don't know how many units they are bringing in. Maybe they only brought in 100 units, 200 units, 500 units. I don't know. But in 2 days, everything was full. And it's amazing, right? And I'm sure this is the same case with other parts of the world as well. I'm sure in Singapore, in Thailand, in the US, other parts, I'm sure, although the price is quite high, it is selling really, really well. And that's because it's quite unique, right? There's no other cameras quite like it. So, yeah. Car says, good morning from US, Robin. Hope you're well. I'm doing quite alright. Thank you so much, Car. Wishing you the same. Robert says, greetings from Hungary. Hey, Robert, how are you? Nice to see you here. Yes, Zoltan, read Ben Chappell. Really sad to hear the news, right? Chuck says, his enthusiasm for photography, even while going through stage 4 cancer, was inspiring. I know, right? There was like, he still goes out, and astrophotography is not easy, right? You need to like carry really heavy tripods and like the telescopes and everything, and there's like multiple equipments you need time to set up, and man, it's not easy. It takes a lot of physical strength, and there's just so much patience that you need to do astrophotography. And on top of that, he still films himself, and he needs gear to take video of him doing astrophotography, explaining all these technical details to everyone. And I just thought that was really commendable. And yeah, like the effort that he put in his videos, that's like maybe 5 times more than 500% more than what I actually do in each of my videos. So yeah, that was really something, right? Rowan Capture says, I've got to try some astro with my EM1, but I'll need to go 50 kilometers away to get out of the light pollution. The joy of living in the city of lights. I know, I'm right smack in the middle of the city in Kuala Lumpur. So yeah, everywhere here around me, it's all light pollution. But I don't need to drive 50 kilometers away. I think about 25 kilometers away from the city, or away from where I am now, we'll probably get to somewhere dark enough to shoot night sky. Yeah. Hey Rudolph, how are you? Nice to see you, Rudolph. Rosesa in Sweden here. Thanks for joining the stream. Alright, I've caught up the chat. Let me drink more coffee, and yeah, we'll start with the topic for today. So I've tested the GR4, and man, I spent so much effort getting sample photographs with that GR4. I don't know if you guys can tell. I put a lot of effort going to like at least 6 different locations to get my shots. Of course, if you're not in Kuala Lumpur, you can't tell. But as per any new camera reviews or any new product reviews, I really want to put a lot of effort in getting the shots. I believe in the sample photographs. If my photos are not meaningful, then what's the point of doing a review, or what's the point of testing the camera if you don't have images to show? What's the purpose of the camera? To take images, right? So I really put a lot of effort in it. While I was shooting out there, the locations that I shot at, Bukit Bintang, Petaling Street, Chowkit, Pudu, I even went to Masjid Jamek area. And while I was out there shooting, I can't help but wish Micro Four Thirds has something like that. And it's not like we are that far off. We do have very small cameras like the Olympus Pen Mini, or EPL7 is also relatively small. We also have Panasonic GM1, right? But once you pull on the lens, even the smallest and tiniest lens like the Panasonic 14 f2.5 or the Pancake lens, or something like 15 f1.7, the 1232. But if I know the 1232 is really slim, but once you unlock it and extend the lens, it's not really that slim anymore. The size is quite noticeable. There's nothing quite like the GR series camera or the GR4. It is truly slim, it's truly pocketable, it's so small, and yet it has a sensor that's larger or slightly larger than Micro Four Thirds. The APS-C sensor, I think it has the latest APS-C sensor from Sony, the 26 megapixels BSI CMOS sensor, which is really great. And yeah, I just can't help but wish it was a Micro Four Thirds camera. And imagine if OM Digital Solutions and Panasonic got really serious about this and came out with a competitor. They can make the camera smaller. They can make the lens better, right? They can make the camera more optimized. And they can even make the camera weather sealed, because you don't even have to change the lens. The Ricoh GR series camera, even the latest GR4, is not weather sealed. So imagine a truly pocketable camera that is weather sealed, that is made of magnesium alloy body, that has the latest and greatest, like the best processor, some computational features like pro capture mode, high res shot, handheld, focus bracketing, live ND, and it's just a really, really good lens. It may be like a 28 equivalent or 35 equivalent. It doesn't really matter. And maybe just put like a bright aperture f2. It doesn't have to be f1.8. It can be f2. I think that's great. Make the lens really small and give it a really sharp lens. Make it fully optimized, really, really small. I think that would definitely eat into the pie of Ricoh and Fuji. Besides the high success of the Ricoh GR series camera, Fuji is also very successful with their X100 series camera. Now they are at the 6th iteration already. And mind you, these cameras, they were not an instant hit. It took time for the cameras to gain cult following. Like the GR1, GR2, these cameras, I wouldn't say that they were unknown or they were not popular. They were popular back then, but they were not that popular like now. Like Fuji X100, the first version, second version, S100, S100X, S, and S100T. Yeah, they were popular. They were quite well known, but they were not like sold out everywhere now, or like the Fuji got like 1 million pre-orders in the world now kind of situation. It took them many, many years and many, many iterations to get to where they are, to get to such high success, right? So that's the same with like Panasonic and Olympus, or now OM Digital Solutions. They just give up too easily, right? Like for example, GM series camera, Panasonic GM1, GM5, and that's it, they stopped. And mind you, back then, like we're talking about more than 10 years ago when DSLR was dominant, compact cameras were not seen as a serious camera. It took some time to change people's minds to really convince them that, hey, small cameras are capable cameras as well. Small cameras like GM1 and GM5 can really do amazing things, right? It took some time for people to catch on and accept that small cameras are cool. You don't need large and heavy cameras to do your photography. But then again, they already gave up. Like Panasonic just stopped after GM5, right? And yeah, Olympus went on with the Pen series. Even the Pen Mini, they also stopped, like EPM1, EPM2, and they just stopped. They continued on with the EPL7, EPL EPL 8, EPL 9, EPL 10, but even so, like, we haven't had a new EPL camera since like 5 or 6 years ago, since before the pandemic or something like that. And I wish that they continue making these smaller cameras, because obviously there is a huge market for these smaller cameras. Obviously, small cameras is what Micro Four Thirds truly shine at. The philosophy of Micro Four Thirds is making truly small, compact camera and lenses that still can deliver fantastic results and performance, right? That's the core principle of Micro Four Thirds. And yet, now all the new products that we see from Micro Four Thirds are like, for example, the G9 Mark II, the GH7, OM1 Mark II, 50 to 200 lens, 150 to 600 lens, all of these massive cameras and lenses, they are like, I know, if you compare against full frame or equivalent, these cameras lenses are still small, but where are the tiny cameras and lenses that we love from 10 years ago? You know, it's like, yeah, they should go back to basics, go back to the drawing board and really, really rethink their strategy, and not only make like, continue on with the updated GM series cameras from Panasonic, or the Pan Mini series, or the EPL series, the Pan Light series from Olympus OM system, but also dive into like, hey, what happened to LX100? You know, we have the LX100 and the LX100 Mark II, which is not really much of an improvement from LX100, and the LX100 has so many issues to begin with. It wasn't really a great camera, but the concept is great. The idea is amazing. Just the execution part, the final product isn't that great, and they could improve on that, work on that a lot more, and make it truly a fantastic product now in the year 2025, right? LX100 would have been a hot selling camera now. And you know, it's like an OM system should consider making a compact size camera that has Micro Four Thirds sensor and a fixed lens. Why not? Why do we let Fuji and Ricoh take the whole pie? Why aren't we fighting? And yeah, I know that they are doubling down on wildlife. You know, they want bigger cameras and bigger lenses. Yeah, profit margin is better, right? You sell those bazooka lenses, those white color lenses, you earn thousands of dollars in terms of profit margin, versus a camera that only costs like maybe $1,000 or maybe $1,005, right? Profit margin is higher, but how many lenses can you actually sell if you don't have cameras to begin with? Okay, let's not talk about sales numbers, or let's not talk about profit margins. That's out of my depth. I'm not a business person. I am just a photographer. What do I know? I'm just speculating here. But seriously, the core principle of Micro Four Thirds has been lost in recent times. I wish they go back to that and revisit what makes Micro Four Thirds truly special, what makes us fall in love with Micro Four Thirds. I think we need the smaller cameras. And yeah, like I said, the GR4, look at it. It is such a huge success. It's sold out within 2 days in Malaysia. I can't say the same with other Panasonic or OM system products in recent years. Nothing is being sold out. Yeah, so there you go. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? What do you think of the Ricoh GR4? Do you think Micro Four Thirds can do better with a more attractive product? Let me know in the chat. I would love to hear your opinion. And yeah, while I'm waiting for you to respond, let me just drink some coffee and I'll get to the chat. Okay. Chat. Andrew says, I was a little confused as well why Lumix stopped the GM1 and GM5 and Olympus EPM1, EPM2. Could it be they didn't want it to compete with the G series and Pan series respectively? I think in terms of product differentiation, it's a little bit too close. Like what the Olympus Pan Mini can do and the Pan Light can do, let's say the EPM1, EPM2, and then the EPL7, EPL8, all those cameras, it's like too close, right? It's just like maybe the Pan series camera has the tilt screen, it has maybe the 1 or 2 more dials or more buttons, right? But having said that, doesn't really matter. Even they don't even update the Pan Light anymore, the EPL10, and they just stop, right? I think we need an update of that camera, and on top of that, they can do more than just this 1 or 2 camera lines, right? We can have like a compact camera with a fixed lens, but have a Micro Four Thirds size sensor. I think that camera will do really well as well. But then again, the Panasonic GM series is truly unique. I don't think it is overlapping any of this series. The GM1 and GM5, they were not exactly budget cameras. These cameras are premium compacts. I think they are quite unique as well. And what I believe happened was that the cameras were launched ahead of its time. At that time, people don't appreciate tiny cameras that can do really well in terms of performance and image quality, because when people want quality, people associate with larger, heavier DSLR shaped cameras. And not surprising, DSLR at that time is still dominant, right? If you think about professional photographers, you think about large DSLRs. So when you hold a tiny camera, it seems like, hey, that's a toy camera, it's not a serious camera, right? So to be seen pro, this is where ego comes in. It's all psychological, right? They want a bigger camera, or even the mirrorless cameras. And this is true because I worked for Olympus back then. The data proves that the cameras that's shaped like a DSLR will sell well, has a higher chance of selling. There's a reason why Sony, in the beginning of the mirrorless line, it doesn't shape like a DSLR, but after a while they change the shape to DSLR shape, like the S7 series, right? S7, S7 Mark II, S7R. Those cameras were shaped like a DSLR. There's a reason why it's done that way, because they know when the camera looks like a DSLR and it's black, people will buy. Same with Olympus at that time. Initially, Micro Four Thirds was not shaped like a DSLR. Initially, it was really small. The EP1, EP2, EP3, and then there's EPL1, EPL2. Those cameras are like rangefinder, tiny, really tiny, smaller shape, right? They know that they can't compete with DSLR. So to trick people psychologically, to convince them that, hey, look at our camera. This camera is good as well. They have to make it mimic the look and appeal of a DSLR, the large grip, the pentaprism, although there's no need for pentaprism because mirrorless cameras don't have a pentaprism, don't have mirror, right? But yet they retain that shape from DSLR, which is ridiculous because it's all electronic, right? So the pentaprism was made into the fake pentaprism on the mirrorless camera, like the EM1 series, for example. And of course, Panasonic also retained the shape. Yeah, you can see lately all the new cameras, mirrorless cameras like the Nikon series, the Z series, Canon R series, everyone, just even Fuji, the more successful selling ones, yes, they have the X Pro series in the beginning, X Pro 1, X Pro 2, but they came out with the XT series. Why? Because of the DSLR shape and size. It cannot be too small. It cannot be different shape. So there's a reason why, like 10 years ago, GM1 and GM5, it didn't do well, because the shape was not somewhat associated with something that is truly professional or capable. But then again, the world changed, and now it's so much more in the future. People realize that, hey, small cameras can actually do really well. That's why there's a resurgence of compact demand. Now that you can see that the Ricoh GR series and the Fuji X100 series, recent years, they're doing so well everywhere because people are starting to change, and they can. It's not like, oh, we want DSLR all the time. They are starting to accept that other cameras that don't have a DSLR shape can also perform really well and deliver great image quality. This has clicked now, and I think if Panasonic and Olympus or OM System were to release the Pan Mini series or the GM series now, things will be very, very different. They will ahead of the time. It doesn't help that Panasonic and Olympus did not own the majority of the market share. They were quite small. They have always been small players, so they don't define the market. They don't start the trend. And when they want to start something new, it's hard for people to accept. So yeah, that's my analysis, or at least that's what I thought happened. Yep. Okay. Ken says, I sold my 7D recently. I was planning to buy in 5 Mark II, but instead my wallet slipped and bought several lenses for the XT2. Okay. I hope you're happy with the XT2 and your new lenses. Ken. Rudolph says, was out today with the EM1 Mark II and the 75-300 Mark II. That's an excellent lens, and yeah, I still love my EM1 Mark II. I'm guessing you're shooting some wildlife and birds, wherever you are, Rudolph. Gigi Wildlife says, Robin, will it be possible for the Ricoh GR4 to have a firmware update to stop the full blackout in bursts, or is it hardware limitation? I guess this question can be answered if someone knows if the Sony A6700 has blackouts. Let me just do a quick Google search, because basically Sony A6700 uses the same image sensor as the Ricoh GR4. However, they don't use the same processor, right? Sony may use a different type of processor, but yeah, if Sony doesn't have blackout or full blackouts, then I'm sure the same thing can be done with the Ricoh GR4. But whether they can do that, or is it powerful enough for the processor to handle that kind of processing, I don't know, right? Let me just see if Sony A6700 burst blackout. Does it black out? Can't tell from the quick search. I need to dive in a lot deeper. Yeah, I can't find from just the first page of search, so I'm not gonna dive deeper into this. But yeah, I'm guessing not, because Sony knows what they're doing, I guess. Ken says, is the GR4 40mm equivalent? No, it's 28mm equivalent. Camille says, I'm tempted to buy a Panasonic 100 to 400. I want to do some well photography next month. Not sure if I should just save money and use my sister's Sigma 150 to 600 or the Canon 70D. Well, technically the Panasonic would... I don't know. What I know is that depending on the camera that you use, with the Panasonic 100 to 400, it's going to be a much smaller setup compared to the Sigma 150 to 600 on the Canon 70D. So we're looking at about, like at least 50% smaller and lighter, right? Or even maybe half of the size and weight. I don't know. I don't have the side-by-side comparison. If size and weight is not a problem for you, then of course, Canon 70D and a Sigma 150 to 600. Why not? I'm not the kind of person who will push anyone to spend more money on gear. I'm always supportive of using what you have and getting the best out of your current gear. So if you can get that 150 to 600 and use it on your Canon 70D, why not, right? Unless you feel that during this travel, you don't want to carry so many things, and that is not a small lens. It's not an easy lens to carry around with, right, compared to the Panasonic 100 to 400. So yeah, the considerations is on the size and weight in this particular situation. Yeah. Astrom says, I use the Pan-F with the 14 to 42 lens when I need to bring a small camera, but I agree that there's a market for even smaller cameras. Yeah, the thing is that the Pan-F is not that small to begin with, right? And with the lens, it's quite thick. If you compare it with the Ricoh GR, any of the Ricoh GR, right? GR3, GR4, that Ricoh GR4 is so much slimmer. It's definitely designed to be pocketable, right, compared to the Pan-F. Yeah. Pan-F will be my next body, but it's so expensive now though in the used market and quite hard to find as well. Rudolph says, I still have my Lumix GM1 and GM5, both excellent cameras. Yeah. Har says, Rudolph, are you happy with the 75-300? I'm sure he is. Yes, I have the video on the 75-300. I love that lens. I still have that lens. Now, Hua says, I'm shocked by the image stabilization of the GR4 in your video. You weren't even trying to hold it very steady. Yeah, well, the side effect of drinking too much coffee, I guess. I need to do similar tests with my Micro Four Thirds cameras. You can get better results with the EM1 Mark II. I think the quality of the GR4 is better than EM1, but it falls short when compared to EM1 Mark II. I'm still more confident hand-holding my EM1 Mark II. But having said that, the test you gotta make sure that everything is consistent when you're testing, right? So the Ricoh GR4 has a fixed 28mm equivalent lens. So in order to do similar tests on the EM1 Mark II, you need to use at least a 28mm equivalent lens. Anything, the 1240 or 14 to 42 lens. Then you just zoom in, or if you have the 14 f2.5 Panasonic, if you have the zoom lens, make sure it's zoomed at the 28 equivalent or 14. Then you can have a similar test to compare side by side. EM1 Mark II, I can handhold 4-5 seconds, no problem. That's why I said that the GR4 is very close to EM1 Mark II. But if you have the EM1 Mark III, OM1, OM1 Mark II, or EM1X, the image stabilization is definitely better or more capable than the GR4. Even I think it's also very close to EM5 Mark III, because the EM5 Mark III and the EM1 Mark II, the image stabilization is very, very, very close. So yeah. Robert says the OM5 are small cameras. Those are perfect for casual moment shooting and professional as well. I don't agree with your small camera reasoning. Yes, those are pricey and a bit bigger than a pocket camera. Okay, you don't agree with my small camera reasoning, but then again, I think the fact that the camera has gained a cult following and the fact that the camera is sold out everywhere in the world, are you going to ignore that fact? My reasoning is that Micro Four Thirds should make this camera to make money. They are not doing well, right? If you look at the recent market share, Micro Four Thirds comprise of about 3% or less in the market, which is OM Digital Solutions and Panasonic combined. Whatever they are doing currently, the OM5 obviously is not doing well because the market share is so tiny, right? They are not selling good enough. So an alternative for them to sell more cameras would be to make small and compact cameras, which has been proven to sell well, unless you want to dispute the fact that Ricoh GR4 is sold out and GR3 is highly sought after everywhere in the world, it's highly in demand, or you want to dispute the fact that the Fuji X100 Mark VI has 1 million pre-orders and it's basically crazy in demand everywhere in the world. And this has started even before Fuji X100 Mark VI. The X100 V or 5 was also experiencing a very similar trend, right? It's sold everywhere. So these small cameras is proven, it's a fact. I'm not making this up. Whether you agree or not, that's irrelevant, right? Fact is fact, opinion is opinion. It's a true fact that I'm referring to, that the GR and the X100 series, the Ricoh and the Fuji cameras, they are selling like hotcakes everywhere. They sell well and they generated a lot of profit for both Ricoh and Fuji. If that's true, are you going to disagree with my reasoning that Micro Four Thirds, if they go back to the roots of making these small cameras that can eat into this chunk of market and at least gain some profit, so that at least from 3%, that's pathetic in the market share, at least jump to 10% in the market share? Is that too ridiculous of a reasoning? I don't think so, right? I don't think that's a stretch. And yeah, anyway, again, opinion is opinion. Feel free to disagree, but then again, look at the facts. Do not ignore the numbers. Yeah. Andrew says, even now, the newly launched Kodak Charmera keychain blind box camera is getting so much traction and interest. Pre-orders are full and waiting list is long. It's only 1.6 megapixels toy camera. I know, right? Yeah. And I think the part that contributed to the success of the Kodak Charmera is because it's something completely different, something totally unexpected, right? Something that nobody saw coming. And there's a charm, that's what they call it, Charmera. There's a charm in using a toy camera that is really cheap. Unlike Fuji X-Half, that charge exorbitant price, still a toy camera. They're just making excuse by doing so many compromises, right? And still want to charge so expensive. But this Kodak camera is really cheap and they make it so tiny, so small, and yet it has a screen and a viewfinder, which is really cool, right? And a tiny flash, right? So yeah, I can see the appeal of that. I can understand why it's being sold everywhere. Yeah. Andrew says, anyways, I just pre-ordered one myself just out of curiosity. Yeah. And it's going to come in October, right? That's what I saw on YL's page, YL Cameras page. October stock availability. Gary says, Robin, your reasoning is impeccable. OM Digital Solutions needs to generate cash flow to fund development of new cameras for all levels of photographer. Yeah, I think like it's kind of sad that they are not making any profit since their inception, right? Since the first year until now, everywhere they are making more loss. And the first 3 years, things are improving. But like last year in 2024, they are at what, 1.2 billion deficit? That's really bad. Hey, so things gotta improve. And if selling small cameras is the golden ticket, why are they ignoring it? It just doesn't make sense, because I can understand if Canon and Sony hesitate to do this because small cameras, that's not their core model, right? But Micro Four Thirds started by making small cameras. That's where they started. And now they just went completely on a different path, right? Like everything's so big and heavy now. And if it worked, it would have worked. But the problem is it did not work, right? It's so obvious. Look at the financial results. It's miserable. So yeah. Number 6 says, my GR is an Olympus Pen Mini with an Olympus body cap lens. On a finger strap, works good. Yeah. I've talked about a few GR budget alternatives before, right? APM1 and the body cap lens is one. I've also talked about how EPL7 and a small lens can actually work better than Ricoh GR. Well, don't get me wrong, Ricoh GR is not perfect, right? It's a great camera. It doesn't have electronic viewfinder, obviously. It doesn't have a tilt screen, and obviously, when we refer to GR3, which I made my comparisons to back then, the image stabilization is completely useless and the screen is really bad, very dim screen. So if you're like me shooting under hot Malaysian sun, then the EPL7 screen is so much better to use. It's brighter, easier to compose with. And of course, the autofocus on the EPL7 is way faster than the GR3. But the GR4, things have improved a lot. It has image stabilization, which is really powerful. The autofocus has improved a lot. The responsiveness is so much better now. So yeah, things has improved a lot. But then again, the price has also gone up. So of course, there are alternatives that may not outperform the GR4, but they are priced a lot lower and more affordable for everyone. So it may not be as pocketable or as slim as the GR4, but we have alternatives to play with. And as you've mentioned, number 6, the Pen Mini is a good alternative. Yeah. Andrew says, I pre-ordered from YL. Yeah, it's going to be a wait. Can't wait to have fun with it. YL is a safe bet, right? Yeah, YL is definitely a safe bet. Lenny says, love your mini review of the Ricoh. This GR4 seems like a fantastic camera for a take everywhere camera, but the cost, too costly for me. It's too costly for a lot of people as well, not just for you, Lenny. And yeah, you have the EPL7, which is great. I'll stick for that for now. Yeah, I've made a video to talk about how the EPL7 is technically in some ways, a better alternative than the Ricoh GR series camera, right? Yeah, for one, it has better battery life. And it has a tilt screen, right? Which the Ricoh GR doesn't really have. And I gotta say, one thing I didn't mention in the video, or maybe, I forgot to mention, I don't really like the, what you call that? In terms of camera design, the look of it, it's just so plain, so normal. I don't know, like so basic, right? Like the EPL series cameras, the EPL7 looks so much better, sexier, it looks vintage, the design is like so nice, right? Rangefinder type design, right? So yeah. Number 6 says, the smallest interchangeable lens camera, GM5, has a real electronic viewfinder. Yeah. But then again, that electronic viewfinder is... I know some people say having a viewfinder is better than not having one, but I can't really 100% agree with that. If the viewfinder is not that great to begin with, I'd rather not have the viewfinder and just use the LCD screen. Because using that viewfinder, the GM5 is not really a great experience. Have you tried yourself? It has all this rainbow tearing. It's just refresh rate isn't that great, and yeah, it's just, yes, some people say, I prefer to use, but then again, if that's the case, the viewfinder is so bad, I'd rather just use the LCD screen, right? So yeah. George says, I've shot with the Micro Four Thirds for 14 years, but unfortunately the way things are going, I'm more than likely going to move back to full frame Sony a7C Mark II with their small prime lenses. Yeah, if you're okay with prime lenses, especially recently with a lot of third-party releases from Mickey, from Vutrox, from TT Artisans, 7 Artisans, all these manufacturers, they make really small and budget-friendly prime lenses. They are also very sharp and high-performing, right? In terms of budget, there shouldn't be a concern because these lenses are so cheap. And yeah, with the A7C Mark II, I think that's a great step up if you want more improvement in terms of image quality, right? Dynamic range and high ISO. But other than that, depends on what you do. Like, I can understand for macro photography, I'll still stick with Micro Four Thirds because I get more depth of field and more magnification, whereas A7C Mark II doesn't really give me that much resolution. I still need to crop in with the half of the magnification that I get when I do macro, right? And then we have the excellent Olympus 60 f2.8 macro lens that is very hard to replace. Yeah, Sony and other manufacturers have macro lenses, don't get me wrong, but if you have seen what the Olympus 60 f2.8 macro can do. I don't think I can replace that lens with anything else on the market. And do you see how tiny that lens is? And it's weather sealed. It's like, anyway, I'm just revving on and on. But yeah, there are reasons why I'm sticking with Micro Four Thirds. There are some things that cannot be easily replaced. But if you have everything that you need with the A7C Mark II, why not? It's a small camera, and yeah, the lenses nowadays available, they are not expensive. They are not too small, not too large as well. So yeah. Levente says, do you guys think Olympus or Panasonic will release something similar this year? I don't think there'll be anything this year. Whatever they want to release should have been released by now. Maybe something will be released next year in January or February during CP Plus. What's the date of CP Plus? When is CP Plus 2026? Oh, it's February 26th to March 1st. 2026. So whatever new launches of cameras and lenses, it will be released during that time or before. Sometimes they launch it, let's say early February, and they'll have like the showcase at the CP Plus, or they can just launch it at CP Plus, right? That's currently one of the larger photography or imaging product event in the world currently, right? Previously it was Photokina. That's the reason why now in the month of September we have so many releases, right? From the Nikon ZR, the Canon C50 cinema camera, and then we also have the OM system 50 to 200. All these products are launched during this time or before, like August, September. That's because it's the Photokina's timing, right? We don't have Photokina anymore. It's shut down. So yeah, I'm guessing whatever that needs to be launched, that have been launched by now. So whatever that is not launched will be released next year, early next year, or at least by February and March. Some of the big announcements will happen next year in February or March. For that, I'm very, very, very sure. Yeah, I haven't loaded my YouTube control panel. Let me just do that very, very quickly. Yeah, I need to monitor what's happening on YouTube because just now my computer crashed and I haven't loaded everything up yet. So let me just go to my live studio, YouTube studio. Let me see if I can open this up. It's still loading. Give me a moment, guys. Okay, let's load this up. And of course, I need to also load my own live page just to make sure that everything is working fine on the web browser, not just looking at the OBS studio. I should do that as well. And I have another panel with the live chat, not just one panel. So yeah, okay. Everything looks fine so far. Studio is loading, everything looks okay. All right, it looks okay. Okay, let's go to the chat. Andrew says, I like my EPL 6 and EP3 with the VF2 and Lumix 21.7 and Olympus 25.1.8. Just a nice size and retro looking rangefinder-rich camera. It's a great everyday carry and wonderful setup for street or anything under the sky. I know, right? Yeah, small cameras, small lenses, that's the way to go. And I don't know why they just give up on that. And I feel that they are missing out a lot. I would feel that now people have started to appreciate smaller cameras, especially cameras that's smaller than whatever the mirrorless full frame is offering, right? And this is where Micro Four Thirds come in, because with the smaller sensor, it's easier to make the camera smaller without too many compromises. There's just no way to truly miniaturize full frame cameras. Panasonic tried with the S9 and failed miserably. So if you want to make really small cameras, Micro Four Thirds is the answer, right? And they are like sitting on a gold mine and not doing anything about it. Just ignore it. It's so frustrating looking at this, right? So yeah. Astro says, good evening, Robin, just to say hi. Hey, Astro, very nice to see you. All right, I've caught up the chat. I'm going to share my photographs. Basically, I'm recycling or resharing my photographs on the GR4 because I put a lot of effort in taking those photographs, all right? But before that, let me hydrate by drinking some water. And yeah, and whatever that's left in my coffee mug. All right. Coffee. I think it's a good time to also remind everyone that I have enabled membership on this channel. And with just the price of a cup of coffee, you can support me. And you get some really cool perks in return. You get early access to my videos. You get to watch my videos 24 hours before everyone else. We have members-only live streams once per month where you can come in and we have more intimate chat. And of course, if you have comments in any of my newer or older videos, I'll definitely prioritize my reply or responses to your comments first. Similarly to this live stream, I will definitely prioritize my responses to members-only chats. I have taken down some older videos that were not performing well. Technically, I left these videos up for months, and if nobody's watching them, then I'll just bring them down as members only because, hey, I don't want this to dilute the algorithm. I want YouTube to continue to push my newer videos to wider audience, and so far it's working fine. My newer videos have gotten a lot more traction. These other videos, they were not doing well. They include tips and tricks on composition, how to get sharp images doing macro, black and white photography with impact, and a lot of POV street photography. And yeah, if you want full access to these videos, you can join as a member. Now, there are other ways to support me besides joining as a member. You can buy me a cup of coffee using this link, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal, whichever is more convenient to you. And also, you can buy from my affiliate links from Amazon and B&H. Also, another thing, something that I do want to announce, but I forgot to bring up the graphics. Let me just pull out the website and type it in. It's about the workshop that I'm conducting next year in Kuala Lumpur. KL Photography Workshop with Matty, Peter, and where's that? Robin. Oh dear, I can't see what I'm typing. Let me just type on the other chat window. And Robin. Yeah. And where is that URL? Copy. Okay. Let me just, how do I pin this message? If you look at the pin message, which is this one, right? So next year, I will be conducting a workshop here in Kuala Lumpur, and it will be together with my friends, Mati Sulanto and Peter Fosgard, both amazing photographers. They also run fantastic YouTube channels sharing tips and tricks on photography. They also do amazing gear reviews. You should check their site if you have not done so, their channels. I'll be conducting a photography workshop next year together with them here early, I think it's sometime in March. And it'll be awesome, right? I'm going to bring you guys to some of my favorite locations, which you will see later, shown in my sample photographs of the Ricoh GR4 tests that I've done. Locations like Petaling Street, Bukit Bintang, Chowkit, Pudu. Yeah, I can't wait to show you guys around. And we get to shoot together, we get to hang out together, you get to ask us questions directly. And yeah, just hang out and chill together, right? They'll be so awesome. So yeah, do check out the workshop's official website, which is at the pinned comment. All details on how to register is there. I think deadline of the registration is sometime in January, if not wrong. I could be wrong. I don't remember all the details. But yeah, definitely go check out. We have some slots left. And it'll be really cool to see some of you guys next year here in Kuala Lumpur. I can't wait to do some shuttle therapy with you guys. So I'm inviting you guys to come and hey, shoot together with me here in Kuala Lumpur. All right, we have a new member. Let's see. Let me just, how do I do this? All right. Hey, Squadat. I thought you were already a member, or you're just rejoining as a member, right? I don't even remember already. Welcome to Photo Walk Studies. Anyway, time to share my photographs. All right, where were we? Okay, so here is the Ricoh GR camera. I don't have a camera anymore. Obviously, I only had it as a loan unit. I had it for more than 1 week, and I have returned it to Futuromic. And last Friday, I was invited to speak at the launch of the Ricoh GR4 in Malaysia. It was a small event, invite only. We had about 30 to 40 guests, mostly media and photographers, influencers, key opinion leaders. And I was one of the 3 speakers at the location. The other 2 speakers were Adam, who was a previous Ricoh, I think, photo contest winner from last year. And then there is the Zaidi Abdullah, who is currently the president of FJM, which is the largest street photography Facebook group or community in Malaysia. FJM stands for Photography Jalanan Malaysia or Street Photography Malaysia, and Zaidi is the current president, and he was invited to speak as well. So obviously, both Zaidi and Adam also have tested the camera, the GR4. There were only 3 sample units currently floating around in Malaysia. 3. So initially, they were only the first people to try these cameras were Adam, Zaidi, and myself. Now the cameras have gone back to Futuromic, the official distributor of Ricoh Pentax in Malaysia. Of course, the cameras are circulating around. I don't know where they are now, but I was very, very thankful and very privileged to be the first in Malaysia to test this GR4. So yeah, all these photographs you've seen already. It was all used in that mini review I published on Monday, but here I can talk a bit more about the photograph rather than the camera, right? So this is what we want to do here. Instead of just focusing about gear, we want to talk about photography as well, because photography is more important than gear. So this is at Masjid Jamek area. There's a river here, and this is taken on a bridge. I was on the bridge. It's a steel bridge. That's why you can see the triangular opening. It's like it's not called zigzag. What's the pattern? Oh my goodness, I should know this because I'm a civil engineer, but I've never built bridges before. I've built foundations, pilings, slope stabilization. I've never done bridges, so all the terminology is leaving my mind. Like the braces, the it's not horizontal, the diagonal braces, right? So this is like the gap of 2 diagonal brace. I treat it as like the opening, and for street photographers, we love triangle things that are in triangle. And I love that you can prominently see the landmark in Kuala Lumpur or Malaysia, which is the Twin Towers, the KLCC Twin Towers in the background. So that's the background setup, and at that location, there were a lot of birds flying around because nearby there are restaurants, and they usually throw away their leftovers of rice or whatever, and the birds will just come flock the area to feast on those leftovers, which is not a good thing. We should not be feeding the birds, but people do that anyway. I mean, it's not only in Malaysia, but in other countries as well. People just feed them the pigeons, the bread as well, right, in the park, which we are not supposed to do. But yeah, they do that. So all I had to do is just wait for a bird to come into the frame. And this is also where I found out that the camera has total blackout when I do burst. Yes, I was bursting to get this shot. So there you go. So sometimes when you want to take a photograph, it's good to have some layers. So in this particular case, there are 3 layers. One is the place where you look from, which is behind the dark opening. Right, this first layer. The second layer is the far background, which is the KLCC and the buildings. And the third layer is the sky and the birds. So always have 2 or 3 layers, which makes the photograph a little bit more interesting, and it has depth. So yeah, some tricks that I'm sharing with you guys in terms of composition. So this particular case, again, I already have a setup. I wouldn't call this fishing because I did not fish for this shot. I walked by here, and at that moment, I saw that policeman going down the escalator. I saw him coming down. All I have to do is just point and wait for half a second and click the shutter button. And it was luck, I guess, and that's with a lot of street photography or any kind of photography really, is luck. You just have to be at the right time, the right place, and to increase your luck or chances of getting the shot, you just have to go out a lot more. The more you're out there, the more chances you give yourself to get these shots. So this was in the morning, the reflection was clear, we have clear sky. Oh, I didn't tell you guys this. So I got a camera on Friday, and I couldn't do anything on Saturday and Sunday because I had work. I was shooting for a client, a job, right? So I can only do something the soonest on Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I waited every morning. Every single morning, it was cloudy or raining heavily, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I couldn't do anything. And in between, I have other shoots, other jobs, other meetings as well. It's not like I can wait whole day until the sky cleared up and do something. But morning, usually I'm free. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I couldn't do anything. Until Friday... Finally, the sky cleared up. This was shot on 2 Fridays ago. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that 3 days, I got all my shots. And if Andrew is still here, this was actually during the YLPF weekend. YLPF. So it was Friday I shot this, and then I went to the YLPF, and then it was the day that you also went. You went after I've left. So this was during the YLPF weekend. This was Friday, Saturday I also shot, Sunday and Monday. So it took me 4 days in about 6 different locations to get all my shots. This was Pasar Seni MRT, just outside the window. And again, luck, because here you have multiple elements together. The window glass already show you one layer. The other layer is the reflection of the window, which is the buildings. One of the prominent buildings here always features something prominent, which is the Diabumi, the white building in the background. And the third element is the policeman at the lower left corner of the screen. And of course, Malaysian flags just adds nice contrast to the blue sky, the red and white stripes. Well, it is Malaysia Day or Merdeka. During this time, we have a lot of Malaysian flags everywhere. So there you go. I love shooting through gaps, and it is one of them. And I did not intend to do this, but just there's just so many gaps, construction was happening. This was in Pudu, and I think someone was doing some repair works on the highway at the top there. So there were some people walking around. It's just nice that the background of the person, there's like a patch of cloud there to highlight him. So again, layers. So one layer is the gap you're seeing through, right? Second layer is the highway and the man. The third layer is the building, which is another prominent building in Kuala Lumpur, the TRX, Tun Razak Exchange. Layers, composition, shooting through gaps. How do you focus or direct the attention of the eye to the subject that you want to your viewers to see? So yeah, and I love that there's contrasting colors as well. Prominent blue color of the building and the sky versus the red in the foreground and the bright orange vest that the man was wearing. So yeah, contrast. And this was not far from the place where I shot the bird. I love the red background, and I initially did not intend to shoot this photograph. Well, my camera was pointed and ready, but when the lady removed the helmet, that's why I clicked the shutter button. I did not expect that to happen. She was just standing there. I think she was adjusting her helmet before she walked in front to her husband and ride on a motorcycle. So her removing the helmet makes the shot, right? So yeah. And the lighting is just great. The color, everything coming together in the Malaysian flag at the top right corner. All the elements just coming together. And her wearing bright hot pink. The scarf and the shirt is just beautiful. Yeah. A panning shot, something that I like to do a lot. This was at Petaling Street, where there's a Chinese vendor pushing his cart of food to location to sell, I guess. And while things are moving, of course, I slow down the shutter speed, and then I just follow the movement and I click the shutter button. Again, I was bursting and it's just in total blackout. So it's just by luck that I got this shot. So yeah. This is at Kampong Baru. So how many locations I've shot already? Masjid Jamek, Petaling Street, Kampong Baru. I initially just wanted to take a photograph of this kid eating without him looking at the camera, but the kids behind him playing at the field shouted at him, alerted him and said, "Hey, someone's taking a photograph of you." They look over and smiled. And yeah, I just like the layers here again. There's the kid on the bench eating his nasi lemak, and there's the cat, if you can see the cat in the frame, chilling there. And then there's the school in the background, the football field, and a bunch of kids running around playing football. Layers for the eyes to explore and to add depth to the photograph. It's not just one dimensional, it's like 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers. There's so many layers for the eyes to go deeper and deeper and deeper and explore around the frame. So that's how I compose my shots, right? And usually if I'm using like 50mm equivalent lens or 25mm f1.8, which is my favorite lens on my Olympus cameras, I would go much closer, like do the tight head and shoulder shot. But because this is the 28 equivalent on the Ricoh GR4, I don't want to do that because that will create a very ugly perspective distortion. When you go close to someone with a wide angle lens, it just exaggerates the features, like the nose becomes bigger, the head becomes bigger than the body, and everything just looks disproportionate. It doesn't flatter the portrait. So one way I use the wide angle lens when I do my street photography is to take environmental portrait, to take a photo of the person with the background to add to the story, to put some context to the composition and create some depth, right? So yeah. This is an example of the environmental portrait that I talk about. Follows the man and using the background to tell the story. The background tells you that he's in the market, and the thing that's behind him that is sitting so close to was the grinder or grater of the coconut. So he grates the coconut, using that machine there. So yeah, I just love this kind of environmental portraits. So yeah. And yeah, to show that the autofocus is quick enough, I saw that this man is about to jump, and I quickly point the camera at him, autofocus, and just grab the shot. And the camera did not fail. And it's not just autofocus that's fast, but overall the GR4 was really responsive. And yeah, I just love moments like this. And I can easily do this with Olympus or Panasonic cameras. I'm not saying that the GR4 is like super special or anything, but it's nice that the GR series or the Ricoh has finally caught up. Because I can't do this with the GR3. So yeah, again, some slow shutter shots to induce motion. So besides panning, I also like to do slow shutter motion shots where the main subject is actually blur, like the moving subjects are blur, where like you see the motorcycle and the man pushing the cart is actually blur, and we have the background that is actually sharp. So here we feature the Merdeka 118 building in the background, and this is at Pada Pudu. So Pudu wet market. So how many places already? We have Pudu, Kampung Baru, we have Masjid Jamek, we have Petaling Street, right? We have 4 locations already. Crazy. This is at Masjid Jamek, roti canai, which is a Malaysian breakfast, and I just love how you can see everything from foreground, the roti canai that's already ready made and ready to be served to customers, to the dough that he's actually making before he's actually frying it on the pan, which is at the left of the frame, and everything at the back, which is the ingredients, including the eggs and condensed milk and everything that he needs to use, not just for here making the bread, but also for the drinks that they're making, which is not far from here. It's like a typical restaurant scene here locally in Malaysia. So yeah. Just some people randomly walking by. I just love that they are dressed in the traditional costume. This is sari. The Indians here do wear, and they do love their colorful, beautiful costumes, which I love. Right, so just want to celebrate that. And this shot, I initially wanted to go closer because you can see that on the ground there is the painted white and yellow patches, which matches the white and yellow dress of the girl. So the girl, I mean, it's interesting. I just want to capture that. But then again, I did not find a good way to compose. So I decided to just do a super wide shot, which includes the Dayabumi building as well. So yeah. So I thought it was interesting, right? The yellow part of the dress matches the yellow patches of paint on the ground. So yeah, there you go. And just some standard reflection shots, some drama when there's reflection, there's drama with this bright color, lines, texture, repetition, everything. It's just drama, 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 drama in a photograph. And again, shooting through gaps, and the person wearing yellow matching the yellow parts of a lorry. I just like that the man was smiling at me from a distance and shoot through some gaps, and that offers a natural perspective or a natural framing to direct the eye to that person directly. So there you go. And I just randomly walk up to people and just say hi and just grab their shots. And people are usually friendly in Malaysia, which is amazing. Something that you guys should consider joining the workshop here and see how warm and friendly Malaysians are. You can easily take portraits of strangers here to add to your street photography portfolio. So yeah, I just love it. And I like that there are 3 of them. There's this rule of 3 for for street photography. If just 2 of them, it doesn't work. There's 3 of them. So this makes the photograph more compelling. I like that they're all doing different things. One person is reading the newspaper, one person is obviously on his motorcycle ready to go, and one person is just sitting there doing something else. So yeah. Cats. I love cats. Who doesn't like cats? And I don't care if this is a bad sample photograph, or if people like the photograph, or people say that this is not street photography. I don't care. I just shoot what I love, and I think we should do the same. Everyone should do the same, right? Like if you truly like photography, then you should aim to find something that you love to shoot, because what's the point of doing photography if you're not doing something that you love, if you're not shooting something that you love, right? I love cats. That's not a secret if you've been following me for a while now. Again, environmental portrait to show the environment of the man, the background, and what the person is doing to add some context and for better storytelling. This person is making the flower garland, which is very, very common scene in Malaysia, right? Oh, that was in Pudu, by the way. This was in Pudu. This was in Pudu as well. This was at Jalan Masjid India, a different location. So yeah, and this was in Pudu as well. Roti Man, which is a very common scene in Malaysia. He's stocking up his tidbits or foods, and he'll go around the neighborhood area and sell all this food to the people in the neighborhood. So which is pretty cool. It's a very common scene in Malaysia. And yeah, again, slow shutter shot, just to add layers and some creativity here. I like that the blue doors and windows and the bright painted yellow wall. It's just very attention grabbing. I love that there's like a tiny patch of green at the side. Yeah, and the foreground is just people walking by in slow motion or motion blur due to slow shutter speeds. So yeah, just a few more shots. Again, environmental shot, environmental portrait showing a guy chilling around, sitting there. By the look of the dirty shirts, you know that he's been working. He's been working hard at the market. So yeah, he's wearing boots, yellow boots, meaning that the place is not really clean. The floor is quite dirty. It's wet market. Yeah, fun fact. So I went to Pudu on Saturday, and it's a wet market, right? So that's where they sell fish and seafood and fresh chicken that's just slaughtered, right? So the floor is wet. That's why it's called wet market, and it smells, right? And I intended to go to YLPF. This was during the YLPF weekend, which is the photography festival. It's a trade show a few weeks ago. I talked about this already, but I didn't tell this story. So after shooting Pudu, I actually took a train to on the way to the trade show, right, to YLPF. And as I sat down, I wondered, where did that smell come from? I thought that someone else around me was smelling funny. And I realized that, oh no, it came from me. I think it was my shoes that smell really bad after going to the wet market. And I decided not to go to the YLPF on Saturday. I just stopped at the next station and I just decided to take another train back home. I was like, man, I don't want to go to the photography trade show and meet other friends and smell like fish, right? That's not fun. So I was like, oh my. And the thing is, when I was walking around, I did not smell it. I only smelled it when I sat down. And when I'm closer to the shoes, right, I was like, oh my goodness, this smells really funky. So anyway, some really funny story that happened 2 weeks ago. Like I said, I love cats. And yeah, and you know how cats are. When they're about to yawn, you only have that half a second or 1 second to grab the shot, right? It's and gone, right? So I'm yeah, it's nice to see that the GR4 is really responsive finally, right? And this is not really snap focus. You can see that I can get some background blur as well, some bokeh shot. And this is the last shot, another panning shot to close the series. This is at the what do you call that? This is at Kampong Baru, Ice Cream Man, which we all love. I hope you guys enjoyed the photographs. I know that I've shared these photographs already at during my mini review last Monday, but at least here I added more story to it. Hope you guys can see what happens behind it, the location, what the people are doing, why I composed the shots the way I do, why I did what I did. And yeah, I hope you guys can see the reasoning behind these photographs. So there you go. Okay. Before we continue, before I get to the chat, let me just drink some more water to stay hydrated, and then maybe some more coffee, whatever that's left. And yeah, and get to the chat and read the remaining chat until we finish. Okay, coffee. Okay. As usual, I'll respond to members first. Skoda says, I just renewed my membership. I had to suspend it for a while because I had to move and rebuild my savings. Let's do this. Oh, thank you so much. You don't, I mean, I appreciate the support from you guys. A lot of you guys have been so generous. And even if you're not a member, I still appreciate you and still love that you are here with me, right? So thank you so much for the support, Skoda. I really, really appreciate it. Yes, I remember you were one of the first wave, right? I was one of the first wave of people to join when you added membership. But a few months ago, I sold my house and moved into an apartment. Wow, that must have been quite an adventure. Yes, trust. This shows that I have been out of my game for too long. Yeah, Gary says, I really like this picture. I will buy a print. Aw, you're too kind. Yeah, I think the picture is ready for print. No problem. We have enough resolution. No issue. Yep. Andrew says, that's why I didn't see you on Saturday. Something fishy happened. Nah. Actually, Saturday morning, the reason why I wanted to go was because there was a talk by a Kuching photographer by the name Ben. I think it's Ben Fu. I could have gotten his surname wrong. I'm quite sure it's Ben. Ben Fu from Kuching, under Fuji. So he's talking about medium format, and like I think he's doing some demonstration on medium format photography using the GFX camera. So they flew him all the way from Kuching. I don't know who he is. I've never met him in person. I'm not aware of his work. I just found that hey, this guy is coming all the way from Kuching. Kuching is where I'm from as well, if you guys don't know that. So I thought it would be nice to just go and support a fellow Sarawakian, another fellow photographer from Kuching, just to say hi and see what he's doing, right? That's the reason why I want to go on Saturday. But then again, yeah, it wouldn't be nice if I see him and I smell like fish, and all people can remember Robin smells like fish. That will not be fun. Andrew says, love the shots, Robin. I have so much to learn from you on street photography. Thanks for the inspiration. No worries. I don't think I have a lot of tricks or like special techniques. My photography is fairly straightforward. And when I shared my photographs during the Ricoh event last Friday, and the comment from the MC was that, wow, these photographs look so ordinary. She's not saying bad things, but she said, but you managed to find the beauty in these things. And I guess that's what I want to do, right? I want to celebrate all these little things that we see every day, everywhere, right? All the tiny things, all the normal stuff that we see, but we just take them for granted, right? And this can be special as well. Like, one of the things that people try to do so hard in photography is to find something extraordinary. They want to go the extra mile. They want to travel to like very far away places and spend a lot of money to get that very hard to get shot, the wow shot. But sometimes photography, all you have to do is just look around us. There's magic everywhere. And I think that's one of the messages that I want to send to people doing photography. You don't have to go to great lengths to achieve great things, right? You just have to appreciate what you already have. So yeah, let's see. Rudolph says GM5 viewfinder is not very enjoyable. Yeah, that's what I mentioned, right? It's like, I'd rather use the screen. LeBron says, I agree that OM system needs something like the EP series. That said, I think it will be a small volume camera, which means the price will go up unless they keep it basic. Well, depends. There are many ways to make things moving. You don't have to add all the latest bells and whistles. You don't need like 120 frames per second on these cameras, right? And maybe you don't even need weather sealing. It depends on what they want to do to keep the price down. Leventa says, as your title states, I do also think Micro Four Thirds should release new small cameras constantly, as they could be cheaper than full frame or APS-C, which is the main selling point. Prices where I live went up like crazy. Yeah, I know, right? I wish they continue making small cameras. That's what drew me into Micro Four Thirds. They make truly compact cameras, small cameras that deliver great results, right? Yeah. Josh says, Robin, do you know if the Nikon ZF still has a focus issue since the firmware update? Also, do you think it was too bulky and heavy for all-day street photography? I'm not aware of any focus issues on the Nikon ZF. I don't have a Nikon ZF, obviously. I'm using the Nikon Z5 and it doesn't have any focus issue. What focus issues specifically? Maybe you can let me know, George. I do think that for day-to-day street photography, I want something smaller. Something like the EM10 or APL7 will be perfect for street photography. Even the GR4, I gotta admit, is really very fun to use for street photography. But ZF is more like it has a retro charm, and I understand that it cannot be too small because it has a full frame sensor, right? So I'm willing to compromise. If I'm using the ZF, I'm okay with the size and the bulk and the weight. Just because it has a full frame sensor. But if I were to really choose, I'm staying with my EM10 or EPL7. So yeah. Zotan says, beautiful pictures as always from you, Robin. I really like the minimalist design of the Ricoh GR. Yeah, it does look minimal, right? Minimalist. Yeah, but I don't know. I just prefer something like the EPL7 maybe. That's just me. Yeah. Hey Santix, happy Malaysia Day week. Happy Malaysia Day to you too, Santix. I hope you've had a good long weekend. I think in Malaysia we have like 4 days break. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, right? And yeah, so hopefully you've done some street shooting yourself as well. Sandy says, what was the camera launch you attended? GR4. That was last Friday. Zoltan says, in my opinion, you're one of the number one street photographer in Kuala Lumpur and your portfolio can back me up. Oh, you are too kind, Zoltan. Too kind. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Number 6 says, that is one sharp camera, that GR4. Yeah, it's I guess a combination of new sensor and new lens. The new lens is really, really sharp. BCRT says, hi Robin, greetings from Malaysia. Me and my dad love your videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, my dad passed away last month. I'm so sorry to hear this, BCRT. We want to thank you for spreading your photography passion and love in your videos. I appreciate that. And I'm so sorry for your loss. I only recently lost my mom as well. My mom passed away 2 months ago in July. So definitely I feel you. We are going through grief at the very same time. And my mom's death, it did hit me very, very hard. So yeah. And well, life goes on, right? And at least for me, one way to deal with grief is with my cameras, shutter therapy. And yeah, and when I go out there shooting, I think of my mom, and yeah, it helps me to work through things, work through stuff while I'm shooting. So yeah, hope things get better for you. Hope things are not too difficult. And yeah, hey, life goes on, right? BCRT. And thanks for the kind words. I really appreciate it. Let me just delete this. Azahar says, Olympus should collaborate with phone company like Leica and Zeiss. But before I continue with the comment, let me make one thing clear. Leica and Zeiss do not collaborate with phone companies. Phone companies pay Leica and Zeiss to use their names. That's it, full stop. They don't give them some secrets in lens design. They don't share the color technology, nothing, right? Basically, it's a quick cash grab because, hey, Xiaomi or Sony or Vivo, whoever, these companies, they sell like millions and millions of units of smartphones in the world, right? Imagine if each unit, they have to pay like $10 fees for Leica and Zeiss. Instantly, one smartphone launch, they earn tens of millions of dollars. It's easy money. And it's a win-win for everyone. They just have to pay extra $10 or $20. They get to use the brand. And yeah, the smartphone camera is a smartphone camera, but they trick you into think that, oh, this camera has a Leica lens. So everyone benefits, right? The smartphone manufacturers benefit from using the brand to make their cameras look more legit, like they're partnering with an actual brand, right? Because let's face it, Leica is the smallest camera company in the world, perhaps even smaller than OM System. I don't know. I could be wrong at this point because OM System is doing quite miserably, but they are one of the smallest camera companies in the world. How do we make more money? Let the smartphone users use our brand. We can cash in tens or hundreds of millions without doing anything. So don't mistake those brands that you see on the smartphones, whether it's Leica or Zeiss, it's just name. It means nothing. All right? Okay, there's more people using their phone to take picture than using camera. That is true. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. More people are using smartphones to take photographs than using camera. That's true. Yeah. Hey, Rob is in the house. Hey, Rob. How are you? Rob says, hi, Robin. Thanks for taking a minute to remember Ben. I was very close to Ben. I'm so touched by all the comments from everyone. Yeah, it's just so sad, right? I was looking forward to, maybe doing another annual live stream together with Ben, right? It's just it's really sad. It's a very sad news. Anyways, thanks Rob for joining, and you guys should know Rob Track, right? Rob is such an amazing guy. If you guys have not subscribed to Rob Track, please do. He produces excellent content. He's one of the big supporters of Micro Four Thirds community, and yeah, he does a lot of tutorials on Micro Four Thirds products. He goes really deep, and he's got a lot of live streams happening every week. Now, 2 or 3 live streams now every week, Rob? That is so hardworking of you. I don't know how you can do that. I'm struggling now trying to keep up with my weekly live stream. And yeah, and if you guys don't know, it was Rob who inspired me, or at least it was him who motivated me to do my own live streams. It was all Rob. So me doing live stream here, you can thank Rob for that. So yeah, please subscribe to Rob if you have not done so. Yeah, Rob is really amazing. So yeah. Sandy says the next Micro Four Thirds camera should be something to cover vlogging market. Yeah, definitely a street camera between ZV-1 and Canon V1. But the Canon V1 is a failure, right? Like, anyone still talking about that? With wow collapsible kit lens and good microphone system. Nah, no one cares about the built-in microphone in the camera, Santix. I've talked to you about this before. Nobody cares. All vloggers or any content creator that really cares about audio quality or really cares about the content, they will use an external microphone. There are so many shapes and sizes, and today the external microphones, they are so tiny, so good, the quality is so amazing. Forget about the onboard camera microphone. I'd rather they use the budget for something else like image stabilization, for example. Yeah. Zoltan says, the new GR4 have very nice and warm colors, kind of like Olympus has. Lovely pictures and thank you for sharing. No worries, I share what I can. Thanks for the kind words, Zoltan. Sunny says, GM1, GM5 with flip-out screen. But then again, if they add flip-out screen, then it will not be that small anymore, right? It'll be a lot thicker. Nobody cares about microphone, I said it already. Kit lens is lens, right? Camera is camera. So if you want an interchangeable lens, then that's a different story. Yeah. UD wet market. Yeah, I know, right? I was like, I probably shouldn't be meeting people with this smell. Kamil says, your shoes story. I wish people had that kind of self-awareness with how they smell here in Canada. Like, no, the thing is, if I did not sit down, thankfully there were seats in the LRT, right? The train. If I did not sit down, I honestly did not smell anything while I was walking around. I couldn't smell anything. I thought I was fine. And of course, I try not to step on the puddles or the wet parts of the market, but you can't get away with everything, right? So there are parts where maybe they were a little bit wet. I just stepped over it and something was there. I don't know. So there was that stench, right? And it was obvious when I sat down. So yeah. Yes, cats. Cats are amazing. Yeah. All right, I think I caught up. No, not yet. There are still some more chats. Connoisseur says, hi Robin. Hey Connoisseur, how are you? Nice to see you. Number 6 says, Robin, the 28 field of view seems to work well on the GR4, but 28 isn't your favorite focal length. That is true. What's your feeling about the 28 shooting the GR? No different from 28 shooting with any other cameras. Focal length is focal length. Any camera, whether it's full frame or APS-C or smartphone, all Micro Four Thirds is the same. Okay, let me rephrase this. My most favorite focal length has always been 50, right? I use 50 a lot for my street photography. My least favorite focal length is 35. I don't like 35. It doesn't work for me. That's the reason why I don't like the X100 series Fuji. Nothing against the camera. The camera is beautiful. It's wonderful. Just that 35 doesn't work for me. 28, however, I can work with. I'm fine with 28. I wouldn't say it's not my favorite. It's just that it's not my most frequently used focal length. But again, my most favorite is 50. I've said it already. But I'm okay with 28. I can compose wider. I can compose with 50. Just not 35 or 40. 40 is also weird. 35, 40 is just weird. 28, 50 is just fine with me. And using it on GR is just like using a 28 on any other cameras. I compose it the same way. The mistake that a lot of people do is trying to get close because they say, oh, now that you have a wide angle, right? So to get closer, subject to be intimate, you just have to go move yourself close. That is the mistake, or at least I think it's a mistake. Because the closer you get, the more unnatural the rendering will become. Then you get all the ugly distortion, the lines are not perfectly straight, and then the human, if you're shooting people, then the head become bigger than the body, and then the nose become exaggerated. It's just not flattering for a human look. So what you need to do with a wide angle lens is not get too close, it's to step back so that the person, you capture the entirety of the person with the background to tell a better story so that the person still looks perfectly natural, still looks flattering. The limbs are not exaggerated, are not, like if you put the arms at the side, it becomes fatter, that kind of thing. Those things don't happen, right? So at least the proportions remain beautiful. So that's what I do with wide angle. I don't go too close. If you go too close, that's where things work against you, and that's where you don't get those natural flattering look. Yeah. Sonic says Pentax could have made Micro Four Thirds camera instead of Q mount, but then again, that means that they will have to invest a lot of money, right? Which I don't think they want, since they put a lot of, they put pretty much minimal effort into whatever they do. Pentax made 110 camera, which is basically similar size to Micro Four Thirds sensor. Check out Pentax 110 lenses. They're very small f2.8 lenses, yeah. But then Pentax is bought by Ricoh, so I don't think they are gonna come up with anything interesting anytime soon. Roger says, your white cat photo was cool. I was searching where he was. Took me a second. And that's the point, right? You gotta put some effort into looking at the photograph. Thanks, Santix. Appreciate the kind words. Very inspirational set of photos you shared. I really appreciate that, Santix. Dave says, digital Mew, please. I think digital compacts are dead, right? Unless they change it up, make things more interesting, like putting in a larger size image sensor and a better lens, for example, and put in some really cool features. Kami says, I don't know, my system is doing quite miserably. I nearly spit out my drink in front of everyone at work. They are, right? Like 1.2 billion yen loss? That's not looking very promising for the future after 4 years of operation, right? And having like 2%? How many percent of the market share are they having recently? Let's check. What is 3%? I can't even remember the market share. That's quite sad. Let's see. What's the market share? I made that chart. Where's that chart? 1.9%. 1.9. If 1.9% is not miserable, what is market share in 2024? 1.9%, right? Anyway. Skylar says, hi Robin, do you have experience with the Nikon D200? Wow, that's all. They become very affordable. I think I might pick one up this weekend. I would say go for D300. For whatever reason, D300 would be, unless you really want the nostalgia or you want the charm of using a super old camera. I understand. I have a D50 and I love it, right? But I gotta say, I wouldn't use the D50 for anything serious today, like shooting a wedding or an event or portrait shots that I want to deliver to clients. But with D300, that's a different story. It's still a fully capable camera compared to D200 or D50, for example. More resolution, better autofocus. Everything has been improved, right? In terms of speed, responsiveness, and everything. I will go for the 300. But if you don't mind the slower camera, if you don't mind everything being older, I think D200 is still great. There are no bad cameras. Even like any camera is a good camera, right? That's why I always tell people I use like the Canon 5D Mark I. I use really old cameras like Olympus E1, which is like even more ancient than the Nikon D200, for example. So yeah. Sandy says, make sure next consumer Micro Four Thirds camera must have audio mic input. Yes, definitely. That is a must. I agree with you, Santix. Mark says, hi Robin from Italy. I'm an early photographer. Early. Okay. I own an OM5, so I'm in the Micro Four Thirds family, but I'm also own a GR3. And I think that this tiny camera is amazing. It takes fantastic photographs. I agree. The photos from the GR series cameras, they've always been amazing, right? And because it's APS-C, so APS-C sensor sizes creates fantastic results. We all know that. And for them to be able to make it so small and portable, that's even a bonus, right? Just the GR3, I'm not happy with the autofocus. I'm not happy with the screen. I'm not happy with the battery life. I'm not happy that the dust gets into the image sensor. There were just so many complaints, and there were issues with durability, like the dials will fail after some time. I don't know. There's just so many complaints. And some of the things I can't conclude yet from my mini review, like whether the dust will get into the sensor or not. I only had a camera for 1 week plus. You might need the camera for a few months or half a year to see whether the dust really gets into the sensor or not. And yeah, other things like, I don't know, the durability of the buttons and dials. Only after repeated use for an extended period of time, you can really tell whether these issues still exist or not. So currently, yeah, I can't really tell. Yeah. Vic says, sad news about Ben, hoping the best for his family. Yeah. Rest in peace, Ben Chappell. He's such an amazing dude. Yeah. Andrew says, go for D300. It's actually the first DSLR with video capabilities. Was it? It was D90, right? Was it D300? I thought D90 was the first camera with video capabilities. Anyways, doesn't really matter. But D300, yes, D300 is definitely better. So yeah, Zoltan says, oh, talking to each other, no worries. Santic says, I know nobody cares about the onboard mic, but it's decent enough for environmental sounds. Detectable mic module can use as lapel mic. Yeah. Kamil says, Robin, if On Systems were to re-release 35 to 100 f2, would it be smaller? Of course it'll be smaller. Any lenses that are made for Micro Four Thirds will be smaller. Like for example, if you want to compare, say, 14 to 54 f2.8 to 3.5 versus 12 to 40 f2.8 constant, right? I know it's not exactly the same, but hey, it's constant f2.8. It's smaller, right? For example, another good example would be 50 f2 macro lens versus 60 f2.8. I know it's not the same f2 f2.8, but hey, it's 60 and it has true one-to-one magnification, whereas the 50 f2 doesn't have true one-to-one magnification. There are a lot of other examples I can give, like 40 to 150 f2.8 constant versus 50 to 200 f2.8 3.5. 40 to 150 is smaller, lighter, and yet it's constant f2.8, right? I know it's not 200, but you get the idea. It is definitely possible to make things a lot smaller when it comes to Micro Four Thirds because it's not designed for DSLR anymore. It's for mirrorless. Yeah. Scarlett says, just for fun, I have the Sony A7R as well. That's where you get a massive resolution, right? Yeah. Azhar says, I'm looking forward for a review of the new 5200. Imagine the street photo you can get with that. Nah, if I were to get that lens, it's not for street photography. When I do my street photography, it will be with the 50, usually 50. The longest I'll go with will be 45 f1.8. When I talk about 50, it's a 25 f1.8 lens. So I will use my 45 1.8 sometimes for street, especially for portraits, but 50 to 200, that's just not a street photography lens. I will do some tests where the lens is intended. If I can get to shoot some indoor sports, maybe that would be great. If I can shoot tennis, because I'm familiar with the game, or I don't know, like I'll go to Bird Park maybe to get some bird, or the zoo maybe. Yes, it was the D90. I was like, yeah, D90, definitely. Yeah, Nikon models. Nikon and Canon, they have too many cameras. It's pretty much confusing. You were a Nikon user? Ah, I didn't know that. Yeah, no worries. No harm done, basically, right? Yeah. Sunny says, what do you think if OIM make the next entry-level camera with detectable wireless mic module? Something camera industry can catch on as innovation. I think that's not necessary. I think they can, because it's gonna cost money, right? Putting Bluetooth and everything. Why not just use the technology for something else, like a better 5-6 image stabilization or improve autofocus algorithm, for example, face detection autofocus. These things are more important than the mic module. If I'm going to use a camera, I'm going to attach a microphone to it anyway, right? Yeah. And people already have all these external mics to use. They already have existing mics. And if you want to buy a new mic, it's so cheap. So by making it in the ecosystem of the camera and sell it, I think nobody's gonna buy the accessory by the primary manufacturer, right? So unless they can make it cheaper than third party, which I don't think they will. This has never been a history. Chuck says, I have the GR3X and can say getting rid of the rotating rear wheel will suddenly increase its durability. That's what breaks for most people. I don't understand. Like, I have DSLRs or mirrorless cameras that have dials. I've been using them for like 10 years or more, and they still work perfectly fine, right? The dial on my Nikon D50 still works. The dial on my D600 still works. So why? And even the dial on my Olympus E1, it still works. Like, why is the GR3 so, like, why is it so problematic, right? I just don't understand. Yeah. Sunny says, Olympus OIM makes good audio recorders. If they can make a lapel mic size about hot shoe cover size that attract the camera that can remove as wireless lapel mic. But they don't have lapel mic. Voice recorder is a voice recorder. Lapel mic is a lapel mic. What do you call that? The lavalier mic is a lavalier mic, right? A voice recorder, they are two completely different things used in two completely different situations. Christoph says, hi Robin, OIM only has 1.9% market share, but does that also apply to refurbished products sold through the official store? Market share means that how many people buy the camera, right? Buy the camera, not so much of like in the used market. So yeah. Chris says, while I will have the 50-200 f2.8 next month, I plan to take my 40-150 f2.8 to KL for the workshop next March. Ah, smaller, lighter, better for street. Also fits in my flight luggage better. That's true. And that's why when you travel, smaller cameras always wins, right? Looking forward to seeing you next year, Chris. Andrew says, I will care more about the image stabilization and better autofocus rather than the built-in microphone. Exactly. I don't even use the built-in mics on my Sony Olympus Lumix when I can just attach an external mic. And these external mics, they are so tiny and so cheap nowadays, and they're so good quality. I mean, maybe 5 years ago, I understand the situation where if you want a good microphone, you gotta pay like 1,000 plus ringgit. We're talking about $200-300 for Rode Wireless Go or something equivalent, right? Or Sennheiser mic. But these days, there's so many cheap microphones and they're so small and so portable. They're so easy to use, right? It just doesn't make sense to have to invest so much in the microphone system where people just buy third-party choices everywhere, right? So yeah. Christoph says, this is the second time this year that they've offered a 40% discount on camera bodies and pro kit lenses. Okay. Sunny says, just some innovation ideas, maybe some camera innovation. Yeah, when I talk about camera, yeah, definitely image stabilization, autofocus, and of course, don't forget new image sensor, please. Hello, like it's been some time, right? We need new image sensor with high resolution, with better dynamic range, and better high ISO performance, right? And what happened to that 47 megapixels that was announced by Sony in 2019? 4 micro four thirds. Nobody's using that. I think it's about time someone uses that new sensor in a new camera, right? Camille says, most of the cameras have Wi-Fi built in for transferring photos to phones. Why not use that for wireless mics? Because wireless mics don't use Wi-Fi? Right. Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi, right? It's transferring data. The wireless mics, they use radio, not Wi-Fi. It's a totally different thing. 2.4 gigahertz radio, right? It's different. Zodan says, Robin, can I ask you this? Do you ever thought about visiting maybe in, like Finland, where you have good friends anytime in the future? I think currently, no. Whatever travel plans that I have gotten derailed. Since my mom passed away in July, I have spent a huge chunk of my savings. The funeral cost, not funeral, we had a memorial cost, the cost of bringing the body back from China and everything, and the crematorium and everything, whatever that. Let's just say that death is not cheap. And I'm the only child and I have to bear the entirety of the cost. So a huge chunk of my money is gone because of that. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that I don't have a lot of spare cash to burn. And traveling is a luxury. And I love to go to Finland. I love to go to anywhere in the world. I love to travel to the US, to the UK, everywhere in the world, to Iceland, right? To see the Aurora Borealis. But I can't. I gotta be very careful with how I spend my money. I'm not struggling, don't get me wrong. I'm still doing okay. I still have enough jobs to sustain me, and the YouTube is giving me very good secondary income. Definitely, I have enough to survive every month and set aside some money for savings. But then again, I gotta be very, very careful with how I spend my money because, yeah, like I said, I've just spent a huge chunk of my savings because of my mom passing. So gotta be very, very, very careful with that. So no big troubles anytime soon. Andrew says external microphones are so cheap nowadays. Even the DJI Mini is so affordable, like what, 300 plus ringgit, right? Yeah. All right, I've caught up with the chat. Let me just drink more water. Whatever that's left in this coffee cup, and whatever new comments, I'll reply to that, and we'll close off the session for tonight. Yeah. There's like 99 people watching, according to the page. 97 people watching now, which is really great. Yep. Andrew, did you register with the Sony thing? Santex as well, if you're still here. Are you guys going to the Sony event this coming weekend? At the Mines? Right, Santex, are you going to the Sony thing? I think Tavipung, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. A very famous and successful Thai street photographer is coming to Malaysia, specifically to the Sony event. And a lot of these Sony photographers are going to speak on stage for the weekend. Yeah. I'm not free this weekend. I would love to go, but I can't make it. Saturday I have a job. Sunday I'm meeting some friends, celebrating some birthdays. And the fact that the mines is like in the middle of nowhere. That's like very hard for me to get to, right? So yeah, definitely not gonna go. Santex, you have been missing out. Let me see if I can pull some links. Nah, just search Sony. Go to Sony page. Search up Sony. Yeah, it's blasted everywhere in the social media. I'm surprised that you're not aware of this. Yeah. Andrew is going for 2 full days. Really? Yeah, Sony is very generous. They're bringing they used to bring in National Geographic photographer Mike Yamashita. They brought in a lot of other what was that award-winning documentary videographer that they brought in the last round a few years ago, 2 years ago. I can't remember his name. Let me just find the name quickly. I went to the last Alpha Day as well. What was his name? I can't remember now because I'm not a videographer. I don't do filmmaking. Let me just make a quick search. Channel. Let me see. Video. Where is it? Philip Bloom. Yeah, Philip Bloom was in Malaysia. That was 2 years ago in the Sony Alpha event. I have a vlog about that. So too bad this year I can't make it. So yeah. Yeah, it's a Sony. Just search Sony Alpha Day. You'll find the information. You're going to grab the freebies, right? And then make you do like a treasure hunt or something. Yeah, looking forward to Kim Moon's workshop and talk. So many others. Yeah. If you can, go and attend Tav Pung or Tavi Pung. I've never seen him in person, but his work, check out his Instagram, is amazing. One of the more interesting street photographers out there. My style and his style are completely different. He's more on the visual drama, things that don't always happen. Like he's very creative in spotting all these weird things on the street. But definitely worth checking out. Yeah. Sultan says, thank you, Robin, so much for answering my question. I'm so sorry about your mother. I can imagine the hardship on your shoulder. I'm in a similar situation. Thank you for everything you do. No worries. And I would love to travel, but then again, priorities. Priorities, right? Gotta get some things right first. Yeah. Upskilling for no worries. We do what's important. Again, priorities, right? Santics, as I've just mentioned. Simon says, the OM has bad marketing. They just need to make a cheap, beautiful camera for the masses without any limitations. It's supposed to be the OM3, but it's still too big and too expensive. I don't know what they were thinking. They could have made the Pen F Mark II and could have been like a hot cake, right? Anyways, too late now. OM3 is out. Sunny says, I wish I could go to take more photographs after that it's over. Yeah, we do what's important first, right? Life is not all about photography, right? We have other more important things to take care of. Yeah. No worries, Rudolph. No worries. Appreciate that. All right. It's almost midnight. I guess it's a good time to maybe cap off the session. We have one more chat. Thundery says, Sony RX100 Mark VI better than GR4, but they're so different. Like Sony RX100 series is 1-inch sensor, GR series is APS-C sensor, which is a lot bigger than RX100, and then Sony RX100 is designed with a zoom lens, whereas the GR4 has a fixed focal length, wide angle 28mm. The Sony camera has video capabilities. It's designed to be a hybrid camera, both photo, stills, as well as video, whereas the GR4 is so obvious. It can only shoot full HD. It's not a camera that you want to use for video. Like, they are both very different cameras, right? And the GR4 is a very clear, very clear street photographer camera, like only street photographer. Whereas the Sony RX100 is more like a casual everyday general purpose kind of camera. So they're both very different cameras, and they should not be compared directly. Andrew, links are not allowed on YouTube because scams, like, someone will post a link to the scam and other people will click, and a lot of people will get cheated very easily. This has happened before. Someone will post a link, say, hey, come here to claim a prize. Someone will click and they got scammed $few $100, and they come to me, hey, Robin, like, why do you let this happen? I'm like, huh? I did not post the link. You click on someone else's link and, you get scammed, and how is this my fault? So yeah, no more links. Sorry about that. But come on, it's so easy to search, right? Sony Alpha Day. Come on, it's not that hard to search. So yeah, Chuck says RX100 is currently selling more than GR4. It's 6-year-old now. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, with that, yeah, let's close the session. It's midnight here in Malaysia. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I hope you guys have enjoyed the conversation, and I definitely feel that Micro Four Thirds, both Panasonic and OM Digital Solutions, they are missing out big time by not tapping into the small camera, compact camera market. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the photographs I've shared, which is basically the same photographs that I used for my GR4 mini review, which was on Monday. If you haven't watched the video, please watch it. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good time, and please go out and take more photographs. I'll see you guys on next week's live stream. Bye-bye.